Listen closely to what I'm about to share. Today we draw the line between the life you've been living and the life you are meant to live. For 25 years, I studied the minds of over 500 of America's most successful men, searching for the common thread that united them all. What I uncovered was profound, simple, and yet so powerful it has remained hidden from the many who struggle daily with poverty, failure, and despair. Men like Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, they all followed a secret morning ritual that set their minds on the path to success before their feet even touched the floor. Every morning you wake with the same worries, the same fears about money, the same doubts about your own abilities. You rise from bed already defeated, your mind poisoned by yesterday's limits. This is the poverty of the mind that traps 98% of all people, the very reason they stay locked in lives of quiet desperation. But right now, as you listen to my voice, that chain is breaking forever. What would you say if I told you that the first 5 minutes after you open your eyes decide whether you will succeed or fail that day? What if I revealed that every great fortune, every remarkable achievement, every breakthrough in human progress didn't start in a factory or office, but in the still moments of dawn, when a determined mind spoke words of absolute faith and conviction? The human mind is a transmitter and receiver. When you speak with deep feeling and belief, you send a command straight to your subconscious mind, which is linked to infinite intelligence. This is no theory, it's scientific fact proven by decades of observation. Your subconscious mind doesn't question or doubt, it simply accepts what you tell it with feeling and immediately begins to create it in your physical world. Andrew Carnegie understood this principle. Each morning before sunrise, he stood by his window and spoke his intentions with such power that his very presence commanded respect. Thomas Edison knew this secret in the quiet of his lab. Before starting work, he would affirm his connection to the infinite source of knowledge. Rockefeller, Ford, Schwab, they all began their days not with news or idle talk, but with deliberate words that programmed their minds for victory. For too long you've been a victim of mental laziness. You've let your mind run wild like an untamed horse, carrying you wherever fear and doubt decide to go. But the 11 phrases I'm about to give you are like the bridle and bit for that wild horse. They'll give you mastery over your mind, and through that, control over your entire life. These aren't just positive thoughts or empty affirmations. These 11 phrases hold the concentrated essence of success philosophy distilled from men who built empires from nothing, transformed industries, and left their mark on history. Each phrase unlocks a different door in your subconscious. Together, they form a master key to unlimited achievement. The transformation awaiting you requires only two things. First, that you say these phrases every morning without fail, and second, that you say them with burning faith and emotion. Words without feeling are dead, but combine them with the fire of belief, and you set forces in motion that will change your entire life. Prepare yourself, for you are about to learn the morning ritual that separates masters of life from its victims. I am the master of my fate. Let these 6 words burn into your consciousness, for they hold the power to lift you from despair to achievement. I once knew a man who had lost everything, his business, savings, confidence. He sat before me with tears in his eyes, convinced outside forces had destroyed him. I gave him only these 6 words and told him to repeat them every morning with his whole being. 6 months later, he returned to thank me. Not only had he recovered, but he had built a fortune twice as large. Most people believe they're leaves blown by the winds of circumstance. They blame the government, the economy, their education, their family, everyone but the one person who holds all the power themselves. But I tell you now, based on my study of history's most successful minds, you are not a victim of fate. You are its author. Every circumstance in your life today is the direct result of the thoughts you held yesterday. When William Ernest Henley wrote, "I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul," he wasn't writing pretty poetry. He was stating a law as unbreakable as gravity. Your thoughts create your circumstances. Your dominant mental attitude determines whether you attract success or failure, wealth or poverty, happiness or misery. This isn't wishful thinking. It's universal law, working with mathematical precision. Consider Charles M. Schwab. He started as a day laborer, earning $1 a day in Andrew Carnegie's steel mills. But Schwab understood he was master of his fate. Each morning, before work, he stood before a modest mirror and declared with unshakable conviction that one day he would run those mills. He didn't hope or wish. He commanded his subconscious to accept this as fact. The result, he became president of the United States Steel Corporation, earning $1 million a year, an unimaginable sum in his time. Henry Ford faced ridicule when he declared he would build a motor car for the masses. Learned men said it was impossible. Financial experts predicted bankruptcy, but Ford knew a secret they didn't. He was master of his fate. Each morning, he renewed his mental declaration of control over circumstances. When setbacks came, and they came in dozens, he reminded himself that fate wasn't something done to him, but something he created with every thought, decision, and action. Your subconscious is like fertile soil. It will grow whatever seeds you plant. When you declare, I am the master of my fate, you plant seeds of power, self-determination, and endless possibility. But it must be done with feeling. Stand before your mirror each morning. Look yourself in the eyes and speak these words as if your life depends on it, because it does. Feel the power surge. Feel the chains of victimhood break. Feel yourself take command of your destiny. The law of attraction works through your subconscious. When you truly believe you are master of your fate, your subconscious draws to you people, circumstances, and opportunities that match that belief. You stop repelling success with limiting thoughts and start attracting it magnetically with thoughts of power and possibility. This isn't mysticism. It's the practical mental law proven by every person who rose from obscurity to greatness. My definite chief aim guides my every action. These 8 words are the foundation of all achievement. Without a definite chief aim, you're like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever life's currents take you. But with a clear purpose fixed in your mind, you become like a guided missile, unstoppable in pursuit of your target. I spent years in poverty and frustration before Andrew Carnegie revealed the supreme importance of definiteness of purpose. He said that 98 out of 100 people fail because they never decide exactly what they want. They have wishes and dreams, but no definite chief aim. They scatter their energy in many directions and wonder why they never get anywhere. Edwin C. Barnes was a nobody from nowhere. When he decided his chief aim was to become Thomas Edison's business partner, he had no money, no connections, no special talents. But he had something far more valuable, a burning desire backed by definite purpose. Each morning before the world woke, Barnes stood in his shabby room and declared he would work with Edison. He didn't say he hoped. He declared he would be Edison's partner. When Barnes finally reached Edison's office, he looked like a tramp. But Edison, who could read men's minds through their eyes, saw something different. He saw the fire of definite purpose burning so bright it could not be put out. Years later, after Barnes became wealthy as Edison's partner, Edison said, I gave him the opportunity because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Your definite chief aim is no wish or hope. It's a command to your subconscious. When you state it each morning with conviction, you activate forces within yourself that begin to transform it into reality. John D. Rockefeller knew at 23 that his definite chief aim was to become the world's greatest oil refiner. He spoke it, he breathed it, he lived it. Every decision and action was guided by this purpose. The result was Standard Oil and a fortune beyond imagination. The principle of concentrated effort demands you focus all energy on your definite chief aim. Scattered thinking leads to scattered results. Concentrated thinking guided by purpose produces concentrated power. Your subconscious works 24 hours a day to manifest what you clearly define and emotionally charge. It never rests, but only if you give it a clear target. Each morning say this phrase and see your definite chief aim is already accomplished. Feel the joy of achievement. Experience success. Your subconscious cannot tell the difference between vivid imagination and reality. When you consistently visualize your goal as achieved while declaring your definite purpose, you create a mental pattern your subconscious must follow. This is the secret of all great achievement, knowing exactly what you want and holding that vision with unwavering faith until it materializes. I possess within me all the power I need. Stop and reflect on the profound truth in these words. You've been taught to believe in limitation, to think you need something outside yourself to succeed. But I tell you now, based on irrefutable evidence, that you already possess within your mind all the power necessary to achieve whatever you can conceive and believe. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal schooling. By every measure, he should have been a failure. But Edison knew a secret his educated critics did not. He possessed access to infinite intelligence within. When faced with a problem, he would retreat to his private room, sit in darkness and silence, and affirm his connection to the source of all knowledge. In this state, ideas would flash into his mind, solutions would appear, inventions would reveal themselves. More than 1,000 patents stand as monuments to his faith in the power within. The average person uses less than 10% of their capacity. Think about that. You are operating at 1/10 of your potential, and yet you wonder why success eludes you. But the power is there, waiting to be accessed, commanded, and released. George Washington Carver proved this truth beyond dispute. Born into slavery and without formal education, he became one of the greatest scientists of his age. When asked how he discovered over 300 uses for the peanut, he simply replied, I went into my laboratory and said, Dear Creator, please tell me what the peanut is for. Then I waited for the answer. Your subconscious mind is connected directly to infinite intelligence, the source of all knowledge, power, and solutions. but doubt blocks this connection. When you affirm each morning that you possess all the power you need, you remove this barrier. You open the channel through which unlimited wisdom and ability flow. This is not theory, it's fact demonstrated by every great achiever in history. Self-doubt cripples human potential. You have been programmed since childhood to believe in limits rather than possibilities. You've been told what you cannot do so often that you forget what you can do. But Carnegie was right when he said, "No man is limited except by his own thoughts." The walls that imprison you are made only of your own beliefs. When you change those beliefs, the walls crumble each morning as you speak this affirmation. Feel the surge of unlimited power flowing through you. You are not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are its expression. The same power that moves the planets, that transforms the seed into a tree, that changes the caterpillar into a butterfly, flows through your mind. Your only task is to recognize this power, accept it, and direct it toward your definite chief aim. When you do so with faith and persistence, miracles become everyday events. The impossible becomes inevitable, and you realize you've always had the power to transform your life. Today I will go the extra mile in all I do. This principle has created more millionaires than any other single factor. It's so simple many overlook it, yet so powerful that those who apply it cannot fail. Most people do only what they're paid to do, only what's required, only what they must, and then wonder why opportunity passes them by. Charles M. Schwab was once asked by Andrew Carnegie to manage a steel mill losing money. Other managers had failed to turn it around. Schwab accepted the job on one condition, that he manage it his way. His way was the principle of going the extra mile. He worked not 8 hours, but 12, not for extra pay, but because he was determined to provide more service than required. Within a year, he insisted every employee follow the same principle. That failing mill became the most profitable in the entire Carnegie system. Schwab's reward, a bonus of $1 million for a single year's work, in an era when $1,000 was a fortune. The law of increasing returns governs all nature and human activity. When you give more than expected, you receive back more than you gave. This is not sentiment, it is mathematical law. The farmer who tends crops with extra care harvests abundantly. The merchant who offers extra service builds loyal customers. The employee who does more than required rises inevitably to greater responsibility and reward. Most people approach work thinking, "How little can I do and still get by?" They watch the clock, resent extra assignments, complain about pay. These people remain at the bottom, bitter and resentful, never realizing they are the authors of their own poverty. They violate the basic law of success and blame everyone but themselves for failure. Going the extra mile is not about exhausting yourself. It's about bringing quality, enthusiasm, and excellence to everything you do. It's about finding ways to increase your service, improve your skill, and add value wherever you are. When you adopt this principle, you shine above the mediocre masses like a beacon in the dark. Opportunities seek you out. Promotion becomes inevitable. Success is not if, but when. Andrew Carnegie built his entire fortune on this principle. He promoted only those who practiced the habit of going the extra mile. He rewarded them, not for what they did, but for their willingness to do more than they were paid for. Everyone who rose to wealth and prominence in his organization did so by rendering extra service. This was not favoritism. It was recognition of an unchanging law of success. Each morning, when you declare your intention to go the extra mile, you program your mind to find chances to exceed expectations. Your subconscious generates ideas to improve your service.
You develop a reputation for delivering more than promised. This reputation is your most valuable asset, worth more than money in the bank, because it ensures you will never lack opportunities to prosper. I attract wealth through service to others. Here is a truth that forever shatters the false belief that success comes by taking advantage of others. Every great fortune has been built on a foundation of service. The size of your reward will always match the amount and quality of service you provide. Henry Ford became one of the richest men not by exploiting others, but by serving them. His obsession was not profit, but providing affordable transportation for the masses. He revolutionized production, not to grow his wealth, but to lower the cost of cars so more people could afford them. The fortune that flowed to him was the natural result of the service he gave millions. He often said, "A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business." Money is simply a symbol of service rendered. It flows to those who provide value and away from those who seek only to take. This is the law of compensation in action, as reliable as gravity. You cannot break it without consequences. Everyone who tried to gain wealth without equivalent service has failed. Every person focused on service has prospered. Consider Frank W. Woolworth. He built his fortune by serving people who had only nickels and dimes. While other merchants ignored these customers as unprofitable, Woolworth saw an opportunity. He created stores where people of modest means could shop with dignity, finding quality goods at affordable prices. His 5 and 10 cent stores served millions.
and made him one of America's wealthiest men. J.P. Morgan amassed his fortune not through manipulation, but organization. He saw American industry needed capital and structure to grow. He organized railroads, steel companies, and banks to serve both investors and the public. His wealth was the natural compensation for this valuable service, building America's industrial foundation. When you affirm each morning that you attract wealth through service to others, you align yourself with this universal law. Your subconscious starts attracting opportunities to serve. Develop what I call a service consciousness, a constant awareness of how you can add value in every situation. This consciousness is magnetic. It draws people to you, opens previously closed doors, and creates possibilities where none existed. Selfishness repels wealth because it violates the fundamental law of exchange. It tries to get without giving, reap without sowing, withdraw without first depositing. But the person with service consciousness attracts wealth because they know giving precedes receiving, sowing precedes reaping, deposits come before withdrawals. This is not just good business, it's the universe's fundamental operating principle. When you work with this principle, success becomes not only possible but inevitable. I transform every failure into a stepping stone. Listen carefully. This principle will free you forever from the fear of failure that paralyzes most people. Every adversity, failure, and heartache carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is no consolation. It's fact, proven by everyone who's achieved lasting success. Abraham Lincoln failed in business at 21, lost a legislative race at 22, failed again at business at 24. His sweetheart died at 26. Had a nervous breakdown at 27. He was defeated for Speaker at 29, Elector at 31, Congress at 34, Senate at 46, Vice President at 47, and Senate again at 49. At 52, he became president and saved the Union. Every failure prepared him, strengthened him, and taught lessons he needed for his destiny. Thomas Edison's teacher called him too stupid to learn. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for unproductivity. When inventing the light bulb, he failed over 10,000 times. When asked how it felt to fail so many times, Edison replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure brought him closer to success because he knew failure is simply a stepping stone. Ryu Darby learned this lesson dramatically. He and his uncle discovered gold and invested all in mining equipment. After extracting ore enough to pay for machinery, the vein disappeared. They drilled desperately but found nothing. They quit and sold the equipment to a junk dealer for a few $100s. The junk dealer hired a mining engineer who calculated the vein would be found just 3 feet from where Darby stopped drilling. The junk dealer made millions of dollars, but Darby learned from failure. He went into insurance sales and, using persistence, became one of America's most successful salesmen. Most people accept failure as final. They quit at the first sign of defeat. They see setbacks as permanent disasters. But I tell you, permanent failure exists only for those who accept it as such. Every failure is temporary. Every defeat is a lesson. Every setback sets you up for a comeback. If you refuse to quit, your subconscious can transform any experience into an asset. When you affirm each morning that you turn failure into stepping stones, you train your mind to find the lesson, opportunity, and hidden benefit in every setback. You develop what I call failure immunity, the ability to bounce back quickly and use defeat as fuel for your next success. Nature requires opposition to create strength. The tree that stands against the wind grows the deepest roots. Muscles that work against resistance grow the strongest. The person who overcomes the most failures builds the greatest capacity for success. When you understand and apply this principle, you stop fearing failure and begin welcoming it as a teacher, a strengthener, a necessary step on the path to achievement. You realize success is not the absence of failure, but the transformation of failure into wisdom, strength, and determination. I am building my success with patience and persistence. In this age of instant gratification, this principle is often forgotten, yet it remains as true today as ever. All lasting success is built gradually, methodically, and persistently over time. There are no shortcuts, magic formulas, or overnight transformations. Success is a building process that demands patience and persistence. James J. Hill spent 20 years building his railroad empire. He laid track through wilderness, faced countless obstacles, financial ruin, and mockery by those who called his project Hill's folly. But Hill knew great achievements take time. He persisted when others quit, stayed patient when others rushed, and kept building when others abandoned the project. The Great Northern Railway became one of America's most successful transportation systems, and Hill one of the wealthiest men of his era. The principle of compound returns applies not just to money but personal growth. Every day you persist adds to your foundation. Each small gain builds on the last.
Every lesson learned makes the next easier. This compounding effect is invisible at first, which is why most quit before seeing results. But those who persist reach a tipping point when all their efforts produce dramatic results. Marshall Field understood this. When the Great Chicago Fire destroyed his store, he had a choice: quit or rebuild. Lesser men might have accepted defeat, but Field saw the fire not as an end, but as a chance to build something better. He rebuilt patiently and persistently, creating a retail empire bearing his name for over a century. He often said, "The secret of success is doing common things uncommonly well, which requires patience to master details and persistence to maintain high standards." Impatience destroys potential success. It causes people to quit just before the breakthrough, leads to poor choices, rushed actions, and failure. The impatient are like farmers who plant seeds, then dig them up daily to see if they're growing. The patient person knows there is a time to plant and a time to harvest, and one cannot be rushed into the other. Persistence is the quality that makes all other qualities effective. Without it, talent is wasted, education is pointless, and opportunity slips away. But with persistence, even ordinary ability can produce extraordinary results. Calvin Coolidge was right when he said, "Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent won't. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius won't. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education won't. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Each morning, when you affirm that you are building your success with patience and persistence, you prepare your mind for the long game. You protect yourself from the disease of instant gratification. You align with the natural laws of growth and development. You join those who know success is not a sprint, but a marathon. Not a single event, but a process. Not a destination, but a journey that requires patience to cover the distance and persistence to move forward despite obstacles.
My mind is closed to all negative influences. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds are planted will grow. If you let others plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, that is what will flourish. But when you shut out negativity and plant only faith, confidence, and possibility, you create a mental garden of success. The world is full of those who tell you what you cannot do. They failed, so they expect you to fail. They quit, so they want you to quit. They accepted limits and try to impose limits on you. Guglielmo Marconi faced this when he announced his idea for wireless communication. His friends thought he had lost his mind and tried to have him committed. But Marconi shut out their negativity. He persisted, and today the world communicates wirelessly. Henry Ford faced constant discouragement. Engineers said building an automobile was impossible. Financial experts predicted bankruptcy. Even his father tried to stop him. But Ford had learned to silence all voices except the one inside him saying, "It can be done." He refused to let doubts poison his mind. The result was not just the Model T, but an entire industry that changed the world. Negative thoughts are contagious. They spread like a disease from mind to mind. When you spend time with negative people, listen to their complaints and fears, you become infected. Your positive thoughts are overwhelmed. Your faith weakens. Your dreams begin to fade. That's why you must guard your mental gates as carefully as you guard your home. The technique of mental substitution is your defense. You cannot simply resist negative thoughts. You must replace them with positive ones. When someone says it cannot be done, immediately recall those who did it. When doubt creeps in, push it out with faith. When fear knocks, answer with courage. This is not denial. It's a deliberate choice to focus on what empowers rather than what weakens. Your subconscious mind accepts whatever thoughts dominate your consciousness. It does not judge truth or falsehood, helpful or harmful. It simply acts. That is why you must be ruthless about what you allow into your mind. Become a guardian at the gate, examining every thought, influence, and suggestion, and admit only those that support your definite chief aim. Each morning, when you declare your mind closed to all negativity, you activate your mental immune system. You build a protective barrier around your consciousness. You join those who understand we become what we think about. So we must think only about what we want to become. This is not optional. It is essential for success. Those who allow negative influences to dominate are defeated before they begin. I give thanks for this day and its opportunities. Gratitude is not just a pleasant feeling. It is a magnetic force that draws more of what you appreciate. This is a law of the mind, as reliable as any law of physics. What you focus on with emotion expands. When you focus on lack, you attract more lack.
When you focus on abundance, you attract more abundance. Gratitude is the master key that shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. John D. Rockefeller began each day with thanksgiving. Even as a struggling bookkeeper, earning less than $1 a day, he gave thanks for his health, his job, his chance to learn and grow. This attitude attracted people and circumstances that helped him build Standard Oil. He often said his success was due not to financial genius, but to his habit of appreciating what he had while working for more. The principle of appreciation works in every area of life. What you appreciate appreciates. When you give thanks for your current blessings, no matter how small, you create a mental atmosphere that invites greater blessings. This is not wishful thinking, but a practical application of mental law. Your subconscious mind is programmed to notice and attract more of whatever you emotionally focus on. Consider the opposite. Those who complain attract more to complain about. Those who criticize find more to criticize. Those who focus on problems discover more problems. They create a downward spiral of negativity, a self-fulfilling prophecy. They prove life is hard by creating more hardship through their attitude. Andrew Carnegie understood this deeply. Despite humble beginnings as a bobbin boy in a cotton factory, he maintained gratitude that attracted help throughout his life. He gave thanks for every teacher, every opportunity, every lesson learned from failure. This gratitude created a positive mental atmosphere that drew to him the men who helped build his steel empire. When you speak this affirmation each morning with true feeling, you activate one of the universe's most powerful forces. Your subconscious mind scans your environment for opportunities you might otherwise miss. You develop what I call opportunity consciousness, the ability to recognize and seize the possibilities around you every day. These opportunities were always there, but gratitude opens your eyes to see them. The ungrateful person lives in a prison of their own making, surrounded by blessings they cannot see, opportunities they cannot recognize, abundance they cannot access. The grateful person lives in an ever-expanding universe of possibility. Every appreciation leads to another. Every opportunity recognized leads to greater opportunities. Every blessing acknowledged attracts more blessings. This is the upward spiral of success, and it begins with the simple but powerful act of giving thanks. I act with decision and courage. Today, indecision and procrastination have killed more opportunities than all other causes combined. While you hesitate, life passes by. Others act while you wait for perfect conditions. Those who act despite imperfect conditions claim the prizes you desire. Successful people share one trait that separates them from failures. They decide quickly and change their minds slowly. Napoleon Bonaparte credited his military genius to this habit. I make decisions 2 hours before my generals think they need to be made. This gave him the initiative. While enemies hesitated, he executed. While they reacted to his last move, he planned the next. The universe rewards action and punishes hesitation. This law is as immutable as gravity. When you act, even imperfectly, you set forces in motion. You create momentum and feedback to adjust your course, but hesitation creates only stagnation and regret. You attract only missed opportunities. Hernan Cortez understood this when he landed in Mexico with 600 men to conquer an empire of millions. His first act was to burn his ships. His men had only two choices, victory or death. No retreat, no second thoughts, no hesitation. This decisive act transformed ordinary men into conquerors. They had to win because failure was not an option. Fear breeds indecision.
You hesitate because you fear a wrong choice. But here is the truth that will set you free. There are no wrong choices, only lessons. Every decision, even those causing setbacks, provides valuable experience. The only truly wrong choice is no choice at all. A person who decides and acts, even if wrong, is better off than one who does nothing and stays stuck. Theodore Roosevelt built his life on decisive action. His motto, do what you can with what you have, where you are. He didn't wait for perfect conditions or remove all risk. He acted with what was available, learned from results, and adjusted his path. This decisiveness carried him from a sickly child to President of the United States. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action despite fear. Everyone who achieves anything worthwhile has felt fear. The difference is successful people feel fear and act anyway. They know courage is like a muscle that grows stronger with use. Each time you act despite fear, you build courage for the next challenge. Each decisive action makes the next easier. When you affirm each morning that you act with decision and courage, you program your mind for action, not hesitation. You prime yourself to spot opportunities and seize them before they vanish. You join the doers, not the talkers, the actors, not the reactors, the decisive, not the doubtful. You align with the force of initiative that drives the world forward and rewards those who lead rather than follow. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. This final affirmation includes all others because success is not just about external goals, but
but about fulfilling your highest potential. Everyone is born with unique gifts, talents, and capacities meant to be developed and expressed. Your true purpose is to become the fullest expression of who you can be. Booker T. Washington was born into slavery but refused to let circumstances define his destiny. He understood that greatness lay within, regardless of external conditions. Every day he worked not just on achievements, but on self-development. He educated himself, refined his character, and expanded his abilities. He became one of the most influential educators and leaders of his time, not because circumstances favored him, but because he committed to becoming who he was meant to be. Growth is fundamental to life. You are either growing or dying. There is no standing still. When you stop learning and improving, you begin to deteriorate. But when you commit to continuous growth, you align with the universe's creative force. You become an ever-expanding expression of human potential. Benjamin Franklin understood this better than almost anyone. He created a system of 13 virtues, focusing on one each week. He examined himself daily, noting shortcomings and resolving to improve. This commitment to self-improvement transformed him from a printer's apprentice into one of history's greatest, an inventor, diplomat, philosopher, scientist, and founding father. Small daily improvements compound into dramatic transformation. You don't become who you're meant to be through one dramatic act, but through thousands of small acts of growth. Every book you read, skill you develop, weakness you overcome, and strength you build contributes to your evolution. The person you are today is the result of all your yesterdays. The person you will be tomorrow is being created by what you do today. This phrase aligns your conscious and subconscious minds toward continuous growth. When you declare each morning that you are becoming the person you were meant to be, you activate what I call the law of becoming. Your subconscious mind begins to reveal opportunities for growth. You attract teachers, books, and experiences that help you develop. You start making choices that support your evolution instead of your stagnation. Most people settle for far less than they are capable of becoming. They let their environment dictate their growth. They accept the limits others place on them. They stop growing after school, stop learning after getting a job, stop evolving once they reach modest comfort. They die at 30 but are buried at 70, spending 40 years as walking shadows of who they might have been. But you were not made for mediocrity. Inside you lies genius waiting to awaken, greatness ready to be expressed, potential eager to be realized. The same life force that creates every miracle in nature flows through you. Your only task is to cooperate with this force, removing the barriers of doubt, fear, and limitation that block its full expression through you. When you say this affirmation with deep feeling, you make a sacred commitment to your own growth. You declare you will not settle, not stop, and not accept anything less than your highest potential. You join those who understand life is a journey of becoming, and the joy is not in reaching a final destination, but in the continuous unfolding of your abilities. You align yourself with the creative intention that brought you into being, promising to honor that purpose by becoming all you were meant to be. Now let me share the sacred ritual that will transform these 11 phrases from mere words into living forces in your life. This is no casual practice to be rushed or done half-heartedly. This is a deliberate act of mental programming that requires your full presence and participation. Rise each morning at least 30 minutes before your daily activities begin. This time is non-negotiable. If you aren't willing to invest 30 minutes in your own transformation, then you are not serious about success. The men who built great fortunes and lasting success all understood that the first hour of the day belongs to mental preparation. They would no sooner begin their day without this than a warrior would enter battle without weapons. Find a private place where you will not be disturbed. This is crucial. The subconscious mind requires concentration to receive new programming. Interruptions break the connection and weaken the effect. Lock the door if needed. Inform your family this time is sacred. Guard it as you would your most precious possession, because it is. Stand before a mirror and look directly into your own eyes. This is important. The eyes are windows to the soul. Speaking to yourself while maintaining eye contact creates a powerful connection between your conscious and subconscious minds. Many find this uncomfortable at first because they've never truly looked at themselves. Persist through any discomfort. This direct communication is essential for transformation. Speak each phrase aloud with all the emotion and conviction you can summon. Words spoken without feeling are lifeless. Your subconscious mind responds not to the words themselves, but to the emotional vibration behind them. When you say, "I am the master of my fate," feel that power surge within you. When you declare, "My definite chief aim guides my every action," see your goal is already achieved and feel the joy of success. This emotional intensity drives the words deep into your subconscious, where they take root and grow. Repeat each phrase 3 times before moving on. The first time, speak to establish the thought. The second, speak with greater emotion to deepen the impression. The third, Speak with absolute conviction, as if it is already true in your life. This repetition with rising intensity builds the neural pathways that transform thought into habit, habit into character, and character into destiny. After speaking all 11 phrases, remain silent for 5 minutes. This is the impression period when your subconscious mind absorbs and begins processing what you declared. Do not think about problems or plans during this time. Simply stay in quiet expectancy, knowing the seeds you planted are already beginning to grow in your subconscious. Transformation will not happen overnight. Your subconscious has been shaped by years of negative conditioning and needs at least 30 days of consistent practice to establish new patterns. Miss a single day during these first 30 days, and you must start over. This is not punishment, but a simple fact of how the mind works. Consistency is essential to create new neural pathways. After 30 days, the practice begins to feel natural. After 60 days, you will notice changes in your thinking and behavior. After 90 days, others will comment on the transformation they see in you. After 6 months of faithful practice, you will be a different person, not in your essence, but in how you express that essence. You will become someone who naturally thinks and acts in alignment with success. Many have written to tell me about the remarkable changes this morning ritual brought to their lives. A salesman barely earning enough to feed his family became the top producer in his company. A laborer who had resigned himself to his fate invented something that made him wealthy. A timid clerk grew into a confident executive. These were not supernatural miracles, but the natural outcome of aligning the mind with the laws of success. Do not mistake this simplicity for ineffectiveness. The greatest truths are always simple. The problem is not understanding them, but applying them. Knowledge without action is worthless. The world is full of educated failures who know what to do but fail to do it. Don't be one of them. Begin tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Prepare your private space tonight. Write out the 11 phrases if needed until you memorize them. Your entire life has led you to this moment of decision. Will you continue as before, hoping things will change by chance? Or will you take control of your own mind and create the change you desire? The choice is yours, but understand this.
If you don't control your mental programming, others will program you for their purposes. If you don't design your own life plan, you will fall into someone else's, and guess what they have planned for you? Not much. I close with this final thought. You now have the morning ritual that has transformed ordinary men into extraordinary achievers. You have the same 24 hours each day that Carnegie, Ford, and Edison had. The only difference is how you use the first 30 minutes after you wake. They use that time to program their minds for success. Will you? The chains binding you to mediocrity are already starting to weaken. Tomorrow morning you will speak the words that will break them forever. Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, know you are about to begin the greatest journey of your life, the journey from who you are to who you were meant to be. The universe awaits your new commands. Your subconscious is ready to receive fresh programming. Your future success calls you at tomorrow's dawn. Rise early, speak boldly, believe fully, act decisively, persist relentlessly. This is the path of those who transform their lives from failure to success, poverty to wealth, nobody to somebody. You now know the secret. The only question left is, will you use it? The decision you make in the next 24 hours will shape the direction of your entire life. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Choose success. Begin tomorrow morning with the 11 phrases that will change your life forever. I have given you the keys to the kingdom of achievement. Now it is up to you to use them.